Welcome to the VetFarm Network Podcast, brought to you by the American VetFarm Network, a program of Addie's Orchard. This show is for military veterans exploring farming, homesteading, and building businesses in agriculture. We share practical resources, real-world experiences, and organizations working to strengthen rural communities across the country. I'm your host, Kate Bowen. Today, we're joined by Dana DiPrima, founder of the Four Farmers Movement and the host of One Bite is Everything podcast. The Four Farmers Movement is connecting consumers, businesses, and communities with farmers throughout nominations, grants, and direct support for agricultural producers, and much, much more. I'm really excited to have this guest on the show today. Today, we're going to learn about how their organization works, what types of projects they support, and how veteran farmers can get involved. So welcome to the Vet Farm Network podcast. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I love what you're doing.
I love what you're doing. I've been following you on Instagram for a long time, and our farm personally was, incredibly blessed by your farmers lists. We had some really, really, really fun connections with consumers across the nation, and they really supported our farm as we got kind of started and rolling last year. So it was excellent. So I can't wait to share about that program that you do, one of many things. And most of our audience is veteran farmers, and they might be hearing about this for the first time. So can you dive into just sort of an overview of what the Four Farmers movement is and maybe what inspired you to start it?
The first part's easy. The second part's a little bit more challenging for me. I feel like I have a different answer every time someone asks me. But really, at its heart, the Four Farmers movement is meant to unite consumers and farmers, sort of under the same roof, supporting where our food comes from. We are super disconnected from our food. It has a barcode, it doesn't have a face and a name, and it really should. So there's a lot of encouragement and opportunity for consumers to get closer to their farmers. But also, and I think this is really where the whole thing started, is I had started a podcast in 2019 where I was exclusively interviewing farmers across the country. I can't really get into why now, but I was, and I realized I was like, wait a minute, people don't know these stories. People don't understand how hard our farmers work. People don't understand that our farmers are 11% of our farmers are veterans. They don't understand that most of our farmers have off-farm jobs. They don't understand that this job is 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then it's really hard to take a vacation. And what I learned, I started the Four Farmers movement really on a 6 grant experiment. I was like, I have this pot of money. I'm going to offer mini grants to farmers across the country. I was very apologetic about how small the grants were. And what I realized was that our small farmers know how to stretch a dollar better than anyone. And $500 grant or $1,000 grant can have a really big impact on a small farm. And what I've learned since then in the ensuing 4 years is that it's really hard for farmers to access capital like this, like no strings attached, no loan, no questions, just trust that you know what needs to happen on your farm next, and having real support for that.
Yeah, and I think, you can touch on sort of the different programs that For Farmers Movement has, but I mean, the two that I'm most familiar with was the shopping lists, I guess I would call it, where on Amazon, farmers like us, we're a small family farm. My husband's a disabled veteran. We raise pastured poultry and holiday turkeys and eggs and, getting sawmill business underway and getting back to livestock like we had at our previous farm. And this shopping list was such a genius idea because literally one night we kind of put together a wish list of everything that was for our new poultry processing setup. So it was like knives, aprons, all these little things that I don't think people understand how much they add up. Like
Mhm.
poultry shrink bags. Okay, like it doesn't seem like a lot, but they're, 48 cents a piece. And so it just keeps spreading and spreading. So Um,
Didn't
that
you get a
was
waterer, a big
uh,
waterer for your birds?
I don't think we got water, but we did get
No, I thought you
we
did.
got a scale that was
Oh,
really
okay.
handy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the kind of thing we did already have a scale, but we were using a scale in our farm store and moving it from where. So it was like these sort of, I guess, luxury, like little luxury items that in my mind as like a, cheap Yankee, that's what I would never have bought another one. But I can't tell you like how meaningful that gift and how much more efficient it saved us a huge step. And then the other little things that we had on our list were like, I had some darn tough socks, wool socks. They're my favorite socks. And like
I know who bought those.
yeah, well, it was amazing. And like those, I need those for my tall muck boots because otherwise, if I wear like cheap ankle socks, I get blisters. Okay. And so that's something that I don't know, as a mom, we just don't have the money for that kind of thing. But like that gave me the like momentum to like make it through a couple really hard weeks. And it was just like something as simple as someone buying you a pair of socks that just every time I put those socks on, I was like, here's somebody in America who believes in small farms and that's encouraging me and giving me a hug. It was like a little hug every time I put them on. And I think that those things there are federal grants and there are those things, but a lot of times they have matching components, which is really hard for small farms to like. You can get a $200,000 grant, but you also have to come up with $200,000. Like, so it's these little things that I think can really propel. And then your recent grant program where you had the short videos that you had people submit. And as a consumer, because I'm a farmer but also an eater, I got to vote for 5 farms, and it was so fun to go to your website and just like see these cool ideas that farmers around the nation wanted to do. And I mean, you couldn't go wrong with voting for them. Every project was completely worthy and awesome. And so yeah, do you want to share a little bit about that just for our new farmers who are getting started and might just need those little infusions of mini capital?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you could be the perfect for farmers movement spokesperson. But the wish lists for farmers are just that. Every farmer has a wish list. And I think, maybe I'm asking people to donate to farmer grants, and I can show you exactly where it goes. Every single dollar that's donated to the For Farmers movement goes to farmer grants. But I want people to have agency of their own to support farmers. Now, you can obviously shop with your farmer. I encourage people to shop locally, shop at their farmers market, shop online with a farmer that they know. But I think there's something magical about that personal connection between me shopping and going, on somebody's list. We have over 100 farmers who have put together shopping lists and they have links. So most of them are on Amazon, but some of them are on Tractor Supply. And other ones are, they have whatever, they've got different kinds of lists from different places, but for the most part, Amazon. And so you just go on and every list tells a story. You're starting a poultry operation. So now I have your story. I understand. Some of them are less obvious, but sometimes farmers are putting little notes in there. Like a farm in New Jersey had these, they look like chicken saddles. They're chicken saddles, basically. And I'm like, what the heck is this for? Because I have chickens, but I was like, my chickens don't have a saddle. But if you've got a lot of hens and some roosters, I guess they get a little worn down, the girls. So they have these chicken saddles. And I have had people on both sides, I get notes from farmers saying, I went to look and add something to my wish list and it's gone. And I was like, mm-hmm. And they're in a like utter tizzy. I'm like, actually, I think that means that somebody has purchased everything on your list. And they're like, and yes, and then the truck starts showing up. Somebody got a fridge. I mean, like, so all kinds of things that are a real surprise. And I think on the donor side as well, it's like, listen, maybe my life is in a different place and I have the opportunity to do this and I'm going to go clear a list or two. So, it's just an opportunity. And I just really want to underscore the personal part. Our relationship with our farmers um, should be personal. And I do everything I can to make it personal and to make it easy. And that's not an easy task, but the Friend of a Farmer Choice Awards we've been doing for 3 years. That's the program. It will end at the end of our conversation today, so I will know the winners when we're finished with our conversation. But I invite farmers to submit a 30-second video saying what they need on their farm. And we have a tutorial that with an expert on how to how to get your message across in 30 seconds or less. Usually it's the first 5 seconds that matter. And it's actually a really fun and funny workshop. Everybody comes scared and hating me a little bit because they don't want to have to do a video and show their face because, how dreadful. But it's really important for our small farmers to get out there and to do that. And then at the end, we workshop. They're like, well, we have this thing and it's got all these parts and da 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 da. And the expert says, hold on, slow down. Did you just say that you've got mud up to your knees? Go stand in it, make your video. Okay, and I'm going to tell you that some of the farmers who participated in that workshop are in the top 10,
Yeah.
because they really got their message across. Now, it's important for this because you can win $1,000 grant, but it's also important if you have a problem and you want
Hmm.
your community to step in and help you, or you want them to know about it, or you've got really great broccoli, or whatever it is or you're starting a poultry operation and what that means.
Hmm.
So those are some of the programs where, you can get involved. I think the other part of this is that we invite the public across the country to nominate farmers. This has been an essential and pivotal and core part of the For Farmers movement since the very first day I came up with the idea. I know farmers are proud. Nobody wants a handout, but here's the truth is that everybody in this country needs their farmers, and farmers are disappearing at an alarming rate. And along with farmers disappearing, so is farmland. And that's not okay. And if you, as a consumer, have the power to make a change, to make sure that your farmers are recognized as the essential professionals that they are within their communities. They are, providing us with food and making sure that our communities are stronger and, helping our local economies thrive and dealing with, the changes in climate right on the front lines, like every single day and taking care of the land. So all of those things are essential. And I thought like, well, we should nominate our farmers and let's take a moment to recognize how important they are. And so across the country in 50 states, every single year, we get nominations of farmers from all the states and they're invited to apply. And I think whether you apply or not, being nominated is really, really feels good. I mean, I've been sitting at this desk for a long time. Nobody's nominated me for anything, but I know that if they did, I would feel great. I would just be like, I'm taking the afternoon off. I'm just gonna like bask in the glory of somebody noticing, what I'm doing. And I just feel like that's so important. And even when our farmers are receiving grants that they applied for, um, they're telling me that it's not just about the money. It's about that personal connection and it's about being seen and it's about being valued. And I think that's really important. And I encourage the veterans who are listening. We have had a very steady influx of veteran applications since the very beginning. And as our applicant pool has grown, so have the number of veterans finding out about our programs. They're always included in our grant awards. North Carolina, West Virginia, Washington State, Vermont. One of our veteran farmers, maybe more, but one of our veteran farmers has a video that's in the running. He's a maple farmer from Rocky Acres in New York. So,
Oh, nice.
they're participating in all the things, and we welcome them and really value our veteran farmers and our review panel for the big, for the grants. Our
Yeah.
big pool of grants really happens. Nominations started in April. Applications open July 1st. They're due mid-October, and then by December, let me look at my calendar, December 2nd, the first Wednesday after Thanksgiving, we announce at least 100 grants.
Wow.
Um, and the review panel that's in place for that. Um, our very first review panel had a veteran bison farmer from West Virginia. Actually, this year, another farmer from West Virginia who has been fortunate to receive 3 grants from us, which is very unusual. She's like, I'm taking myself out of the running this year, and I would love to review grants with you. So we'll have another veteran farmer on our review panel. We have about 15 people on our review panel, mostly farmers, but also non-farmers, and really from across the country in all different disciplines. So, yeah.
That's amazing. So what would be the best place for people to kind of move to tracking what you guys are offering? Like going to your social media, going to the website, what would be a good way for them to kind of get a little bit more information and listen to some of your podcasts? I think you have it's like over is it over 150
Yeah,
podcasts you have from over the
165,
years? Yeah, yeah.
166,
You've
something
got a
like that.
lot of info there.
So the easiest place to find everything is on the website, and it's forfarmersmovement.com. So you can find the podcast there. You can find out how to get nominated. You do not have to be nominated, but part of what I think is so important, like voting for farmers and having wish lists that people can go and shop, is that you need to be building a community that supports you from the farmer side.
Mhm.
And one of the best ways to do that is to say, hey, I just found out about the For Farmers movement and this incredible opportunity. And if you want to nominate us, people just, if they don't know in your community, if you want to nominate us, here's the link. People put it up on their socials. People
Mhm.
are like excited to be able to nominate their farmers. Now, you can always apply on your own without a nomination. So that's a great place to find out about that. You can easily look at programs and get involved doing getting your wish list going. I actually go on the first Friday of every month, and I shop for Farmers Live on Instagram. I am on Instagram at XOXO Farm Girl. So you can follow me there. And I do a lot of announcements there in terms of like, hey, this is happening in a week, in a day. It's the deadline is in 2 days. But really, if you're on my website, you can get on my weekly letter. I have a weekly letter, comes out every Tuesday. And that will always keep you posted. It's like this is an opportunity. And we have some really interesting opportunities coming out from partners as well, like people who have come to me. We had a class that we did that was business development, really envisioning business over the next 5 years, what kind of resources you need. And I'm about to announce mostly through email, that there are some opportunities to work with her in the long term that's fully funded, which is really exciting. So, we're just always looking for opportunities. I have what I call a listening tour. So, if there's something that you really need to know about, like, you think like, oh, well, Four Farmers could be doing this next, or I see this as a whole, or, what other resources do you have, or whatever, or you've got some ideas. I love when people come with ideas. And actually, that veteran farmer from West Virginia, she said, I want to start doing, I think she wants to add poultry to her operation. And she's like, wouldn't it be great if I could connect farmers for farmer support. So there could be a mentoring program. So we're going to work on that together,
That's all.
so that farmers have, resources with fellow farmers across the country where they can say like, okay, I want to start this. What can you tell me? So I think that's really valuable. Listening to farmers is a key tenet of the For Farmers movement. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I just love everything that you're doing and it's helped us, I think, mental health wise in the past, year and a half. And I think that's sort of a gift to farmers that isn't really being or an area that needs to be met better because it is so isolating and it is a really tough job that takes a lot of resilience. And so I really appreciate it. And it's given me, some good smiles over the course of being part of it, and I just really appreciate it. So I
I
also
have to say,
appreciate
I
you.
think again, it is such an important part. I mean, I so our grants program has historically been $500 and $1,000 grants, and now we will always do that. Always. Those grants are so important. They fill a major hole. But there are also farmers in those groups who are ready to make a jump and they need something a little bit bigger to make that jump. And so we're offering, we last year for the first time, we offered our first $10,000 transformational grant. I'm
Wow.
very proud of that grant. And now, I'm getting additional support, and people are starting to pay attention to how they can support the For Farmers Movement, small foundations, and what have you. So I have a $5,000 grant for land stewardship that's going to happen this year. Um, and so I think that's really important. And I shared a video with my grant reviewers, just a little snippet of the Zoom call that I had with the $10,000 grant awardee. And we're just talking, and I didn't want to let on that, like, I said I had a couple questions. But I surprised her with the grant announcement, and I shared it with the review group. And one of the farmers, he's a sheep farmer who's just retired, who wanted to be a part of the review committee. And he's like, I've received grants. I've been part of groups that give grants. There's nothing like this. There's nothing, there's not the care, there's not the personal touch. I mean, people email me or DM me and we just, we have a good giggle over something, or, a farmer who was pretty upset about something that happened. And I was like, well, crying in my greenhouse really works for me. So, so I just think, like, right, like we should all be personal. And the nominations that have come in, I was doing a little analysis, nerding out over the details. We have, in just 7 weeks since we opened nominations, 649 nominations in 49 states plus Washington, D.C. And 63% of those nominations mention the word community, how important their farmers are to their community. So if that's not personal, these are, people are not required to leave a comment, but they're leaving, I think on average, I did a little analysis of, 52 words
Wow.
is sort of the median, with a bunch of them skewing over 120 words. So I'm just saying people are putting in the effort to say, like, our farmers really matter to our
Mhm.
community. And I think it's rewarding for people to also be able to do a nomination like this. I am doing something really important here.
Mhm.
I'm recognizing someone in my community who's really important. And I think, we don't want to get to tomorrow and be like, gosh, I should have nominated my farmer, because now they're gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, it's vital work. I really appreciate you. So thank you for being here today and spending a few minutes with us. I really appreciate it.
thank you for having me. It's really fun.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vet Farm Network podcast, brought to you by the American Vet Farm Network, a program of Addie's Orchard. If this conversation was helpful, please share it with a veteran who's exploring sustainable agriculture or homesteading. And we also invite you to our next American Vet Farm Network live virtual gathering. It's kind of like an office hours. It's just a time we can get together for about an hour on Zoom. You can drop in for just a few minutes and ask your question, or stay the whole time. And this month's topic is going to be what beginning farmers usually overspend on. And I've been farming for over 20 years and I have some personal fails that I am happy to share. That's going to be on Thursday, June 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over Zoom. And I'll put in the show notes how to reach us, how to find that. We also have social media as well for Addie's Orchard. And until next time, farm on.